Hey folks, welcome to today's studio live chat. This is April 16, 2020. And today I've got something interesting for you. So this week, the studio is celebrating its 5th year, that's 5 years, at its primary location in downtown Oil City in the National Transit Building. Pretty cool. The studio was actually in business before then and started as an in-home lesson option. And so all the lessons were given in the clients' homes. And so I'd drive around and deliver a lesson, and then I would drive to the next house and do another lesson. And the reason I did it that way was because when I set out to start a music lesson studio, I really wanted to do it out of my own house, and I ran into some problems with the city, with the way they had zoned things or changed things. Was going to require me to do a lot of stuff that I wasn't able to do to the house. You needed to have handicap accessibility and signs in Braille and bathrooms everywhere and all kinds of stuff that just wasn't really conducive to making that happen. So I said, well, I'll just go house to house then, and I'll be a mobile studio, and I'll get started that way. And that's what we did. But a few years into that, I realized that it was really important to have a place where you could come and just focus on your instrument and your time learning, because you're spending all this time at home trying to get really good at an instrument that you enjoy. And then the problem would be there are so many distractions at home sometimes. I would go to students' houses and there would be SpongeBob would be playing on the TV, or the little girl is making some noise, or the parents are doing something, or somebody knocks on the door and then the dog is barking. I've had dogs. I'd go to clients' houses. I've had dogs running through the parking lots, in the rain, trying to jump in the car and get mud everywhere. I've seen all kinds of weird stuff that just wasn't as conducive to learning. And so I wanted to have a space that we could say, this is where it is. This is where the studio is at, and you can always find us down there. So it was about 5 years ago this week. We moved in, I think, on April 10th, 2015. I opened the doors to the studio and started to get it ready for students. And you'll notice, so I've got this picture up here for you. And you can see that the very first day, that's what I was doing. Now I'm gonna back this up maybe a little bit. Whoops, well, that's not what we want. We want this one. This is the first day. This is April 10th. This is 5 years ago. They were using this room as a storage area for other stuff in the building. In fact, there was a toilet that was in here. I don't know why it's not in the photo. I kind of was irritating that I had to wait for it to get moved. So all this stuff had a place that it needed to be, but they didn't have any place for it. They had thrown it into this room. And so when I rented the room, I needed to wait to get this stuff out and find a new place for it to live so I could move my stuff in. And it's kind of funny thinking about it now, but I didn't realize how much, at the time it felt like it was a huge room, and I had all these ideas of doing things, which we're doing now. But it's amazing how quickly that space filled up. So let's go check it out. This is the one that you saw a minute ago. Once we got all the stuff moved out, we started to do a little painting. And so the walls had some scuffs on them, and they needed to be touched up. And so we touched the walls up here and there a little bit. And now eventually down the road, I got the brilliant idea to paint the walls with colors, to get the blue and the gray that are on there now. And that came a lot later, and that took me a long time to do because I had to do it in between working and when I was at the studio, and paint here a little bit and there a little bit. And I think it took me months to finally get that all finished because I did it after I moved things in. So when I first started teaching out of this space, it was just a bunch of white walls, really boring in the beginning. Let's take a look at what happened. So I started to move some stuff in here, and you'll see in the background, this is like this is the 14th. This is like 4 days later and I've got a rental guitar, that pink guitar in the background, that went out to a student. I had a broken one that was back there for quite a while that needed repaired. I had a couple of chairs, and there's nothing in there. It's pretty empty. Um, it's pretty empty. Now, looking back on it, this would have been a really great time for me to set it up the way I wanted to and make it look the way I wanted in the beginning when there was nothing there. Um, so one of the smart things I did do is start some of the painting. I used the accent paint to get this. This is one of the pipes that runs through the building that conducts heat through the building. So I did some of that stuff early on, and you'll notice that blue color is sort of our theme. So all of our logo has blue in it. The walls have blue in it. Um, Now, since then, we've been able to do a ton of things at the studio later on. And here we've got these recitals. This particular recital is from 2016, December of 2016. And we just have been able to keep doing them and making them more interesting, trying to not just give our students a platform to perform, but also give them that experience that isn't really readily accessible outside of the school setting. The schools are pretty set into what they're doing. They're going to have a musical, or they're going to have a concert, and it's going to be a band concert or a choir concert, or it's going to be the musical that they do in the spring or the fall or whatever. They may do some kind of Christmas concert, but like these things are a little bit different. It's a little bit more intimate, and it's stuff that the kids are interested in working on. It's not something that the people at school tell you to do. So here's a shot of the studio from last fall. This is what it's looking more like now. You can see that we've really upgraded since the early days, and we have access to things that we didn't have access to before. So we're able to create charts for the kids to play through if they need them. We can make copies of things right there. We don't have to wait to necessarily order everything that we need. Sometimes we can just make them right on the right there at the studio. We have access to music resources that are there in the studio. Now we have access online too, but like some of these things are easier to find out of the book because they're right there. I know where to grab them. This is what you're walking into when you come in every week. Something happens, your guitar's out of oops, guitar's out of tune. We have extra tuners and things there. We're doing so many things, and we were able to pull in more instruments. So now we have more options available for you if you decide that you want to take up a second instrument, or if you have a friend who says, oh well, I don't like guitar that much, but I would like to take drums. Well, hey, now we can do that too because we've got those drums going on. And so every year we try to do more and more for you to make your experience just that much more worthwhile. Here's a photo from 2 years ago, two Christmases ago. This was at the holiday recital. Now, the one that we did this last Christmas season was the one that we broadcast. Oh, this is 2017, so we're going back in years. I guess I didn't order these very well, but that's all right. You can see what we're doing. You can see how it's going. And I should correct myself. This is also Hanukkah season as well. So there's a lot of stuff happening at this time. New Year's, people are celebrating the new year. Lots of guitars, we got drums, we got keyboard, and so we culminated last year with a really great opportunity to be broadcast on local TV. That was fantastic. Luke Rio at Stream Media is a fantastic dude, and he lent us his camera and his cameraman, and those guys are just fantastic, really good guys, and I'm looking forward to working with them more as we go forward. But this was a really cool experience, and nobody's doing that in the way that we're trying to do it at the studio here. So Now, what's interesting is that this is all, of course, last year. This is before coronavirus and before everybody's staying at home. And so, how are things going to look going forward? We really don't know yet. Um, this is a testament to the ability of everybody to kind of come together and make this happen for an evening of fun and music. And we might have to look at ways that we can do these things online or digitally until we're able to kind of get back to a sense of normal, a certain sense of normal again. So I've told my students that regardless of what happens this summer, that I'm going to come up with something really clever for them to be able to be involved with, and I want to get these kids on a stage outside this summer. And I know that that seems a little bit uh, grandiose, perhaps, given the state of things. But I don't think that it's that. I don't think that it's that far off the mark, really. I think we can do it, but we might not be able to all gather in the same place at the same time, depending on how things play out and what time of the year we're able to make that happen. At the current time, I'm still planning for a holiday recital at the end of the year, and I'm still planning for some kind of youth stage to occur during the summer months. I'd really like to see kids playing on stage. So if we have to take the kids out there and let them perform one at a time um, at different times, and make a mega video compilation mix would be really cool. So we might look at doing something like that. Um, but whatever it is that we're able to come up with, I just want you guys to know that we're working hard to make those opportunities available for you. You know, this studio live chat is one of those opportunities that you have to just kind of jump in. So if you're a student at the studio, or if you're a parent of a student at the studio, you're welcome to jump in on these. I'm hosting this right from the same video lesson room that you're using for your normal lessons during the week right now. Anyway, so you can come in and chat with me. I got a Coca-Cola, and I'm just kind of sitting here. But I'm trying to do those once a week, if I can make them happen once a week. And this is just something extra for you. I know a lot of people are in their houses right now and they're looking for something to do, so this is a great way to kind of connect. If you have questions about things related to music or your instrument, or just general stuff, you can just jump in and say, hey, what's going on? I'd be happy to talk to you for a little while. So I hope you guys are all doing well. And I'd like to invite you to celebrate 5 years of the studio at its location where you know us to be, in downtown Oil City at the National Transit Building, on the annex side of the building on the second floor. Now, right now, of course, the doors are closed to the public, but we are running 100% online, and so that's some pretty cool stuff. And I'm really glad that we've been able to do that. So if you're thinking about wanting to take some lessons, or somebody that might be interested in lessons, then definitely let them know that we're still here, we're still going, and these events that we've been trying to run the past couple of years, we're looking at new ways to make those happen. So I guess that's all I've got. I'm running out of words, so I guess that will be it for today. So stay safe out there. I'm looking forward to seeing you soon, and spread the word that Sean Carey Music is open for lessons.